This is a work of art. IMSIM has years of movement rig experience, but they have a story unlike most in sim racing. They are really not a sim racing company at their core. The main company, the parent company, Sirmaf, is an engineering company that works with the automotive industry for mission-critical components. For example, they design machines that fold airbags. So, if you have ever been in an accident and the airbag saved your life, there's a chance that it was folded by a Sirmaf machine. So, with that eye for perfection in engineering at their core, they took those experiences into the world of sim racing. I've tried a few of their sim rigs at multiple sim racing expos. I have currently the IMSIM Talentos on my personal rig, but the Garra is something else. It's a marriage of engineering mastery and artistic design. The artistry is something special. The first thing that hits you is the color. In this case, it's usually inspired by Mazda's Soul Red, though any color can be painted as long as you have the pockets for it. A structural blue, anyone? The design is smooth, fluid, in some ways reminiscent of a Formula car, in others of supercars due to the pitch of the nose and the smooth, voluptuous lines. It is stunning and imposing at the same time. So it is art in motion. It is absolutely elegant. If you didn't know better, you'd probably look at it and didn't think this is a movement rig, as the profile is so sleek and tiny and you can't really see the movement rig parts. But before talking about specs and details that make it special, let's talk about the price. It starts maybe at around 50,000 euros, depending which options you would like. This one is around 75,000 and it's pretty equipped, and it's also painted in this red. I am, of course, not getting one. It's really too rich for my money, but the clientele for this motion rig is more exclusive. More complexity means more cables and also means more problems. That's what I've been saying to myself, and one of the reasons I've stayed ultra wide for years, though truth be told, I'm starting to eye some triple screen setups. With the Garra, this isn't really the case, really. Though specs-wise, this is a 3 degree of freedom rig with 4D boxes G5, 4 butt kickers, a seat, and whatever you decide to equip this rig with. That could be their own bucket seat solution, an integrated PC, pedals, wheelbase, or whatever. Or you can have it as bare bones as possible. For example, the rig has an integrated PC inside the chassis, specifically chosen so the movement doesn't do damage to the components and becomes as compact and easy to service as possible. If the integrated PC is your choice, there will be only one cable coming out of the rig, as everything will be already routed and integrated internally. Want to use your own PC? Well, you can configure the Garra just like that. For IMSIM, the objective is to find a movement rig solution for every customer with everything that they need in mind. The great advantage of this sim rig compared to others out there, or even from IMSIM themselves, is that even though it looks everything integrated into the chassis, the monitor is completely detached. So that means you're gonna have your movement, you're gonna move around, but the monitor will stay still, and that's very, very good. So you don't want something like this as expensive as monitor going up and down and then you break something like that. Look at the flow of the design. I really love the color. They're likely going to offer this custom-made, other colors custom-made for their customers. Really love the flow. I really love the format. This, for me, is what I consider porn in sim racing. This has a nice ass, but if you look at this, there's a brake light here that turns on when you press the brake. Adjustability and being fast to get in your racing position, one of my features of this sim rig. So you go inside, nothing is really to my position. I'll pull a little bit front if I want to make the wheel higher. It can go a little bit higher. If I want the pedals to go forwards or backwards, it's very simple. Within 10-15 seconds, this is in your perfect racing position. The seating position is a perfect, comfortable GT style one. Once you get in and set up as it should be, it's also extremely comfortable to get in and out of the rig. The Garra has some incredible well-executed solutions. For example, looking at it, it seems like the monitor arm is fixed to the chassis, just like the Terre is, and that can be quite annoying sometimes, but in reality, the monitor arm is independent from the chassis, so that means the movement rig will do its stuff, it will move around and flop around, but the monitor will stay still. Other small details like the seat are fascinating. While it looks like a normal seat, and in many ways it is one because you do sit in it and it's a regular bucket seat, it's also one that ImSim decided to integrate a speaker set into the seat itself for immersion. This has an interesting effect of being inside of a sound bubble. If you want to listen what is going on around you, just need to move your head forward. While this unit wasn't fitted with the shifter, there are a few expansion slots around to add them to the rig. It's very much like the bigger simrig, the Alma. This adds to the versatility and customization of the Gare.
Very hard to explain motion for those who haven't tried it out. It's not just about the movement of the rig itself, it's about how sharp it can be to convey the forces, the amounts of movement it can have, and also the type of movement that it can have. This specific one isn't one of the ones that, for the guy, is not one that moves a lot. It doesn't have all the axes or degrees of freedom. It doesn't really need to, because it conveys all the information that you actually need. While braking here, you can feel the front of the car pitching in. When you throttle, the car moves a little bit on the backside. If you go into a corner here, for example, at Road America, it will pitch for the G side, for the side that will move. So every single force here is very well represented in the detail that you need. But there's also other things on this specific simrig, because they are working with 4 butt kickers, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. It can give you also more subtle information. For example, the ABS, if your car is moving way too much past the rev limiter, if you are releasing the rear of the tires, if they're losing grip, all of these things, the small amount of movement that it has, but it's so fast, it makes it so natural.
I think the fact I could get in and feel comfortable with everything, like the driving position, but most importantly, the movement, it really speaks volumes about the Gare and what ImSim wants for it. The boxes are in a lot of movement rigs, but out of all other movement solutions, and there's others also pretty good, ImSim is taking it a step further by expertly configuring their software in a way that is so natural, so sharp and precise. It was just needed a couple of corners to understand what is going on. So essentially, there was zero adaptation. Okay, so the movement rig, the Gare, could probably fit back there where the cat is. But let's be honest, this is not for my wallet, and likely it's not for yours as well. As the central focus of this channel is the accessibility into sim racing, you know, buying stuff for 200 pounds and you get the wheel and pedals and something like that. And the Gare certainly isn't that. After all, we're talking about something that costs 50,000, 100,000 or more if you want to spec it like that. This one that I just saw is 75,000 or thereabouts. Though they have more expensive rigs, the Alma for example, and I actually prefer the Alma because it gives you a little bit of yaw, and I do drifting a lot of times. I love to driving in a toge, and having a little bit of yaw to feel the tires go out is generally better. Past that beautiful look and color that really made me spec up a Mazda 3, there's a sleek, solid engineering and build with low drag, high immersion experience for the driver in an incredibly tiny package. I think the next generation of movement rigs, ones that are extremely beautiful, art basically in motion, but at the same time extremely practical and extremely easy to use, has essentially been started with the Gare, and this is why it was more interesting to me than the Alma or the Terre. Maybe one day, if I ever make it on YouTube, I can have one in Magnesio Gray.